Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube page. Thank you for subscribing, sharing and liking. I wanted to say I am very humbled with all of your lovely kind comments, and I thought today, because my November readings will be in another day or two, due to the fact that I've had quite a bad cold and cough, and I've tried 3 times to do them and haven't been able to get through a full one without coughing, so here goes with this one. I actually thought I would pop on here and talk to those of you who have noticed that we are going into Mercury retrograde. And for those of you who are new and don't know what that is, well, let's give you some key points. And Mercury retrograde, what does that mean? Basically, the planet Mercury is our planet of communication, travel, and it is giving the illusion that it is going backwards, retrograding. It actually isn't, it's just that it's travelling a little bit faster than the planet Earth, and it's giving that illusion. So that's what's happening on a physical level. We have 3 of these a year, and we're in the last one of the year. And we've gone into this on the 31st of October, Halloween, and it will with us right through till the 20th of November. Now, for me, whoa, I think this energy has been building up for the last 2 weeks, because if you have noticed some things I'll talk about, I kind of feel it's been building and building and building, and it's been sort of really out there. So it's pretty intense because it's in the planet Scorpio, the star sign Scorpio. So it's pretty intense. Now, on a general note, when we're in Mercury retrograde, things to avoid are making really sort of heavy plans connected with that are done through via communication, paperwork, travel, that kind of thing. So, for example, travel in this 3-week period, you could be experiencing delays. So take extra time for any journeys that you are making in the car or even at the airport. Take some extra food or water, because it's open to having delays. And so it can get a little bit sort of fraught if you are planning to be there in a certain time and you find you're being snarled up in heavy traffic, roadworks, accidents, whatever. It can slow you right down. If you are, like I say, flying out of the country, then make sure you arrive on time, that the journey to the airport is plenty of time to get there. And if you do arrive there on time, okay, then you've got more time in duty free. That's my excuse anyway. So anything to do with travel, train journeys is another one. Anything to do with communication. And communication, anything to do with mobile phones, computers, laptops, emails, anything where you are communicating to other people. And what can happen at this time is that you can type something in that isn't sounding quite right, send it before you thought about it, and it can come out wrong at the other end. The other person reading it can go, what's she talking about, or what they're talking about. So you have to be quite focused on what you're actually saying and how you're meaning what you say, because it's open to that miscommunication. So we might read it in a completely different way, in the way it was meant to be read. So be very careful about how you put things. If you want to talk about very important issues, then make sure you're doing it face to face. It's far more reliable at this time. And then at least the other person can say, did you really mean that? Or is this what I think you're saying? Rather than on a text, because it can go quite wrong, especially with typos, predictive text, as we know. That can throw things out as well. So any sort of communication, mail can go missing, or it can get stuck in the post, parcels, deliveries, there's all sorts of things that can go wrong with this. And sometimes when we want something really important, if we're making very important decisions like signing contracts, house moves, things like that, and those are the bigger things in life, then you need to really be aware of what you're signing. Make sure you're really reading the print so you're not getting into something that you want to regret later. So it's very important for these next 3 weeks that you are more aware of what's going on a planetary level. How it affects you in your star sign can be sort of minimalistic to quite intense. And in my November predictions, there's some pretty raunchy stuff in there. So make sure you take a look. Because it's in Scorpio, it's on a very intense level, and it deals with death, transformation, and it deals with sexuality and sex. So it's pretty at the extremes, yeah. Now, when we say death, I don't mean people dying. What I mean is endings. You can have a blow up with somebody in a relationship and call it all off. And you think, well, why did I do that? And then 3 days down the line, you go, I shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have said this. It can make you feel that way. So it can be a contentious time for couples if things haven't been going too well already. It can make things quite volatile, and things can be said that can't be taken back. So you really do have to watch your words. Transformation is something as well that it can bring about you looking at things differently than you normally do. And again, you might think, well, I don't normally think like that, but it does affect us in that way. So again, when you're trying to sort of change something up, again, be a little bit more aware of how you're putting it across. Don't be too quick to make snap decisions. Don't be too quick to, as they say, jump on the bandwagon. And any arguments that can spiral out of control until we close the door on something. So death, the endings, which we could regret a little bit later down the line. So we have to be a little bit careful. It's also pretty intense on a sexual level. So you might be feeling very passionate. Your feelings towards somebody may suddenly come to the surface, and you may be feeling that you really, really are, falling for somebody, but then there may not be the full signs there that you would normally see. So maybe keep a bit more of a tighter rein on it until you're absolutely 100% sure in this next 3 weeks. As far as relationships are concerned, if you are looking for love, this next 3 weeks is a little bit of a minefield, because if you do meet somebody, you again need to be careful about the communication. It's always best to try and keep it slow and be sure of the person, or if it's the right person, because you could be jumping in to bed with somebody, maybe literally, and maybe regretting it later. So relationships, if you've been liking somebody and you want it all to happen in the next week or two, try and go, whoa, let's just clear this Mercury retrograde first, and then we're on a better grounding so that we know things will work much nicer and easier as we get out of it. So those are some of the things to avoid. Anything else on relationships? Oh yes, I remember. This is a period when we find that our exes decide to drop us a text. You go, why now? What for? Suddenly they ring you up. What are you doing? You want to come back? Come back for what reason? Why now? So you have to sort of dig a little bit deeper as to why somebody wants to come back. Is it just come back to spend the night with you and disappear again? Or is it come back to say they're sorry? Or is it come back to, well, maybe they're not sure, they were just at a loose end? So we have to be, there's more of that energy around, so we have to be a little bit more careful with that. The good things about a Mercury retrograde is that you can get lots of ideas. So what we have to do is just make the plans to put things into place if you have got ideas. And if you're starting a business or something like that, do it slowly. If you've got lots of big ideas, then put the plans in place, but don't activate them just yet till the 3 weeks has passed, because then you could find that you're running into other difficulties that you didn't see, things don't go smoothly. So you've got a better chance after the 3 weeks of it all coming together. But there's nothing stopping you from putting down on paper what your plans want to be and how you want to expand and what you want to do. Because if you start it in the 3 weeks, you could end up running into all sorts of different things, little obstacles that you thought, oh, this is just getting too tough and I won't bother getting it off the ground. So it's to give yourself a fighting chance, really, if you are looking to start something up on a business level. But like I said, for ideas, you can have your ideas, but put them down on paper and then activate them after the 3 weeks. Like I said, there are 3 of these a year and we sort of dodge in and out of them. But I feel this one will affect relationships quite a lot, because that's where we attach our emotions. And that's where you could be finding that you're having quite a lot of arguments or misunderstandings or just plain just not hitting it off. So if you do want to keep your relationship and you find you're running into this, try to bite your lip and think a little clearly about what it is you're trying to say instead of saying something off the cuff, because it will just make it 10 times worse. Don't we just love it? Yes, we do. So you might even feel very intensely on a spiritual aspect. You might find that your intuition is very much coming to the forefront, that you are more in tune with your surroundings and your feelings and the decisions you want to make, what you feel is right, what you feel is wrong. Very strong, intuitive feel about this retrograde as well. Another plus size is you might feel like you want to start cleaning, and you might be doing a spring clean in this time as well, clearing out things, getting ready for the new. And that's not a bad thing, is it? Because sometimes we have hung on to things that for far too long on an emotional level, on a mental level, that really we need to let go of. So doing a spring clean spiritually, physically and mentally is not a bad idea altogether, so that you've got a clean slate to launch into doing your new things when the retrograde ends. So watch your cars, make sure you've had your MOTs, make sure the service, anything mechanical as well can play up for you in this time. So just a thought I would pop on and share some of the things that I know about the Mercury retrograde, and maybe it will help you think twice and save a little discomfort in the next 3 weeks. So thank you for dropping by, and the November monthly free readings will be out in a couple of days, and I look forward to you seeing them. And if you can share and like and subscribe again if you haven't, I'd be so grateful. So I will see you all soon. Try and have a lovely Mercury retrograde, stay out of bother, and take care of yourselves. Lots of love. Mwah. Big hugs.